Hello friends, this is Bhavatosh here. Welcome to my channel Perfect Analyst. In my last few videos, we discussed about the DAX data analysis expressions, and we have already initiated and we have completed one functions called date and time function, and we have just initiated one more functions aggregate functions, which is very important to learn. So today's session we will talk about few aggregate functions like related to count. This count function is important in DAX because most of the projects you have to use this count functions, and there are different types of count functions are there, like normal count functions, count A, count X, count AX. Then we have count distinct count, we have Countrows. So we will learn one by one each with an example so that you will be able to know the use of these functions. So let us start with that, and I'll just share my screen. And there are various types of count functions we have. We have count, we have count A, count AX, count blank, count rows, count X. So these are the types of functions you will be using in many of your Power BI projects. So let us try to understand with an examples. I hope you are able to see my screen. And in this screen in Power BI desktop, I have already done these functions, count functions, and I'm going to explain you in detail what each functions does. If you can see here, there is a table with product name and the sum of quantity, sales, and status, whether this product is delivered. If it is delivered, it is given as true, and if it is not delivered, it is given as false. So within this table, I am going to apply all these functions: count, count A, count X, count blank, count rows, count X, and distinct count. So the first function is count. So what count function does is, so it will count the number of cells in a column that contain or that is filled. So in this, so it is showing 18. It means this is for, so this function is for sheet 1 is the table name. This is the table name, and within this table we have count. It is a measure. So I have created a measure for each functions. So this is one measure, and in measures I have given these functions count. Within this count, sheet 1 is the table name and quantity is the, this is the column name. So in this column there are 18 numbers. If you calculate or if you count it, there are 18 number of cells. It is filled with numbers. That's why the count is 18. Now let comes to the count A functions. So what is the difference between count and count A function is, in count A it will also consider boolean values, but in count functions it will not consider any boolean values. Suppose say I am going to apply the same count functions for to know the number of cells filled in status column, because in status column we have boolean. So if I'm going to change here let's count A function, I have just selected sheet 1 status column and it is showing the result cross symbol. So it is showing error. because our count function doesn't consider boolean values. So instead you have to use count a function. Suppose I'm going to change here count a functions, and I'm selecting this table and the status column and enter. Now it will give you the number. Count a functions consider boolean. So there are 21 cells filled in this and it is showing the 21 number. Now let's go to the count x. So what count x function does? Let's try to understand. So this is count x function and it's already selected. Okay, count x function, this is count x. Count x function, it will give the same result if you are doing the formula, same formula if you are giving here, it will also give you the same result. So let me try first and show you. So I'm just taking this formula and so this is for count. Let's say I'm checking this formula and I'm applying here in count x. Count sheet 1 quantity and enter. It is showing the same result 18 as we are using this count function. So what is the difference between Countax and count means? In Countax, you can also use the filter option, but in count you cannot use the filter. So, for example, if I want to filter any particular based on particular conditions, I want only the number of counts where the sum of quantity is only two. If I want only those numbers to be displayed, in that case I will use count x functions. So I'll just do Control Z. Let me try now. I have used this count AX. So the condition I'm going to apply here. So this is for count x function. So count x. I'm going to use the filter option. Okay, in filter option, I am going to choose the table name, and within the table name, wherever there is a quantity column with true, or maybe wherever there is a quantity column with number 2, only that number it will display. So I'm going to use quantity 2 and I will enter. Here you can see this count x showing 7. Why it is showing 7? Because I have used the filter option. In filter options I have used, I want only those number to be counted where the sum of quantity is 2. So in this column there are 7 times 2 is appearing. 1, this is 2, 3, 4, then this is 5, this is 6, and one more we left I think. So let me try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So there are 7 times 2 appearing. So I have used the filter option in count x function. That's why the number is 7. If you remove those filter and normally if you use, it will show the same count as we have used for count function. So that is the difference between count and count x functions. Now comes to count ax functions. It is same like how we different how we make difference between count and count a. In count ax functions, it also consider the boolean. Here the boolean, like suppose you will say here count a function I'm using. So I want to know uh, I want to know wherever this status column is true, I only want that number. Okay, so now comes count ax functions. So it is just same like how we make difference between count and count a. In count x, it is not considering boolean, whereas in count ax, it will consider boolean. So it is for both type of it will be for both, whether it's a boolean or the numeric. So it will take all the type of functions. So it will take all types. So let's see the what is the what you are using count ax. In count ax, we are using the filter option here and selecting sheet 1 table. Within that sheet 1 table, we are giving this condition that wherever the status column is true, I want only that number to be displayed. So how many products we have where the status is true? So we have around 18 columns, 18 numbers. So this count is coming as a in count ax functions. Okay. So now comes to count blank. It's very easy. In count blank, we are only calculating the numbers where there is a blank cells in particular column. In this sum of quantity columns, we have three blanks, 1, 2, and 3. So that number 3 is coming here. So what is the formula? This is the name of this function, and function of count blank you are using bracket table name, and within that table name I want the column quantity. So within that column quantity, how many cells are blank? So we have 3 cells are blank. So that is the function we are using for count blank. So here it's showing number 3. Now this 7 for distinct count. So this distinct count is for how many cells we have a distinct number. For example, in sum of quantity, the same number has been repeated many times. For example, 7 repeated 1 and 2 times. 2 repeated around 7 times. So we want to know any distinct values. So that number is 7. That means there are 7 numbers. If you calculate, there are total 18 count, but only the 7 numbers are visible here. And remaining numbers are just a repetition. So that is the use of distinct count functions, and the formula is just you have to use this distinct function. Let me do once for this. So once you type distinct, automatically this it will display here. I'm selecting this one and I am giving this quantity, close the bracket, enter, and it is showing 7 number. Similarly, you can do for other things. If I want to know for other columns, if there is any distinct count, it will show. Okay, let's do for product name. I'm selecting product name, and here the number will change to 20. That means though it has 21 count, there is one product which is repeated two times. Here if you can see number third and fourth, same product has been repeated. So the 21 minus 1, 20 is coming here as a distinct count. Now count rows is to know the number of rows in a table. So what is the meaning of that? If you have any tables, and within the tables if you want to find how many rows are there, okay, that number will display here. The function is count rows, and you just have to select the table name. Sheet 1 is the table name. This here sheet 1 you have to select, and it will show you this result number 21. So there are 21 rows available in this table. Okay, I hope you are able to understand this count functions. And if you can, you may ask how this, what you have used here to get this number. That's that you have to use the, you have to go to the visual gallery and you have to use the card option. Okay, if you select any particular card, let's say I'm using the card. In this card you can show this number. I'm just doing for one for you so that you can able to understand. So in this card I'm going to use count function for any particular column, and so I'm going to use this measure. In measure I am giving count function, count to equal to count function of count, function of count, and product name, close the bracket, enter, and you have to select this one, and here the number will display 21. So this is how you have to use these functions to understand about the count function for each type of count function to know the number. So we have completed this count functions, and I hope you are able to understand. If you have any queries with respect to count functions, you can mention in the comment and I will be happy to answer. Thank you so much for watching this video.